The fact that you went from zero AWS knowledge and zero AWS certifications all the way to your first AWS certification, and now 2 of them going on for a 3rd one. First of all, how much AWS knowledge did you have prior? And second of all, how long did it take you to go from 0 to that first AWS certification?
Yeah, so I started with absolutely 0 AWS knowledge. I was even a little unsure like what the cloud was. So I'm like, oh, great opportunity to learn something. Cloud is such a buzzword these days. But then it took about 2 months before I took my first exam. And I think going back to the point too with setting a deadline, like you can always be more prepared. There are always going to be new things that you can learn. These services are incredibly complex, and there's just so much information that just taking that first leap on that first exam helped me feel a lot more confident as I took the second exam and as I'm preparing for the third exam. So it's like, I know there's always going to be things that I don't know, but just being able to apply the knowledge in situations.
Can you think of any challenges that you ran across when you were studying, maybe some services or something that you really got stuck on, and how did you blow through that challenge?
Yeah, I think the first initial ramp up of what is cloud? What can it do? How is it structured? What is a VPC? Getting those concepts to just stick as base concepts was really difficult for me, especially coming from a non-technical background. I wasn't always super familiar with the networking piece or how that even exists outside of the cloud, let alone in the cloud. So once I think I ramped up on okay, what are EC2 instances? What are RDS? What is S3? I had kind of this base knowledge. It was a lot easier to just continue to build on that.
How did you get past that point? How did you go from having no cloud knowledge, you understood that the cloud was a buzzword and you knew that, but you really didn't understand what the cloud was. What made it tick? What made you understand the cloud? What made you understand VPCs? What really made it click for you?
I think a lot of it is relating it to things that I do have experience with. So on the first client I worked on, all of our work was in a VM. So it's okay, this kind of relates to what an EC2 instance can do. Okay, great. I have an idea that I can relate back to. VPC, a lot of visual diagrams were really helpful for that in particular, because you can see how it all fits and it's just this larger container.
What about from a commitment perspective? When you set that due date and you have to stay committed to that due date, what were some of your challenges in actually staying committed to that due date and pushing through?
Oh gosh, it's still so hard, especially working a full day and then it's I don't have the energy to study. But I think the biggest thing is having accountability. So me saying, hey, let's meet up tonight, let's put it on the calendar. I'm more likely to leave work and go straight to our Pariveda office and just stay there and work with another person than if it's oh yeah, maybe we can do it this week, maybe not, maybe I'll study at home. No, that never happened.